Imagine this. You are born into a world where the rules are already written, where the path to acceptance is paved with obedience, where the price of belonging is the surrender of your wildness. From the moment you take your first breath, you are taught to graze peacefully, to move with the herd, to fear the lone wolf's howl in the distance. But what if that howl is not a threat, but a call? What if the very thing you were conditioned to fear, the untamed, the unchained, the unconquered, is the essence of what you are meant to become? Here lies the paradox. Society praises conformity while secretly worshiping the rebels, the thinkers, the ones who refuse to kneel. Why do we condemn the wolf in the wild, yet envy its freedom in our dreams? What if the greatest lie you've been told is that safety lies in numbers, when true danger is the slow death of a soul that never dares to run alone? The question is not whether you can break free, but whether you will recognize the bars of the cage before it's too late. The herd does not think, it obeys. It does not question, it repeats. This is the silent tyranny of the masses, a force so ingrained that most never notice its grip. Friedrich Nietzsche called it the morality of the weak, a system built not on strength, but on fear. The herd condemns the wolf not because it is evil, but because it is free. And freedom is the one thing the domesticated mind cannot tolerate. Carl Jung saw this in the shadow, the repressed, untamed self that society forces us to deny. We leash our instincts, dull our edges, and call it maturity. But beneath the surface, the wolf paces. Arthur Schopenhauer understood the cruelty of this illusion. Life is not a gentle pasture, but a battlefield, and those who refuse to fight are doomed to be sacrificed on the altar of mediocrity. Why do we cling to the herd? Because loneliness terrifies us more than oblivion. Because it is easier to play the sheep than to face the terrifying truth that you are never meant to follow. That every step taken in fear is a step away from yourself. The cage is not made of iron. It is made of myths. And the first lie is that you need permission to leave. Day after day, the price of conformity compounds, not in dramatic collapses, but in silent suffocations. A mind conditioned to seek approval becomes allergic to originality. A soul trained to obey forgets the sound of its own voice. The world rewards the predictable, so you sand down your edges, mistaking numbness for peace. But beneath the surface, a quiet war rages, the cognitive dissonance of knowing you are capable of more while surrendering to less. Neurologically, the herd mentality is a shortcut, a way to conserve energy by outsourcing thought. Confirmation bias locks you into echo chambers, while the mere exposure effect makes the familiar feel safe, even when it's killing you. Culture, media, and institutions reinforce this trance, celebrating docility as virtue and rebellion as danger. Yet history's pivotal moments were never sparked by committees. They were ignited by lone wolves who refused to kneel. The greatest consequence is invisible, the slow erosion of possibility. With every suppressed instinct, every unspoken truth, the world shrinks. You trade the vast wilderness of your potential for a gilded cage. But cages, no matter how comfortable, are still prisons. The question is no longer what you lose by conforming, but what the world loses if you never break free. The first act of rebellion is not a roar, it's a whisper. The moment you pause and ask, who decided this was the only way? Nietzsche's answer was ruthless. You must become a chaos to give birth to a dancing star. This isn't about aggression. It's about audacity. The wolf does not apologize for its fangs, nor does it beg for acceptance. It simply exists, unnegotiated. Start by dissecting your fears. What terrifies you more, the judgment of others, or the realization that you've lived a life someone else designed? Viktor Frankl, who stared into the abyss of human suffering, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is your power. That space is where the wolf wakes, Rebellion is not recklessness, it's precision. It's Schopenhauer's will, sharpened into purpose. It's Jung's shadow, integrated into strength. Study the outliers, the heretics, the ones who were hated until they were revered. They didn't wait for permission. They seized their own narrative. The herd will call you dangerous. Good. Danger is the currency of transformation. Now howl, or forever wonder what might have echoed back. Here is the secret they never wanted you to know. The wolf is not the exception. It is the rule waiting to be reclaimed. The sheep's disguise was never your nature. It was a test. Nietzsche's greatest insight was this: to live is to will, but to will powerfully is to become. You are never meant to graze. You are meant to hunt the horizons of your own potential. The ultimate rebellion is not against society, but against the version of yourself that society manufactured. When you strip away the conditioning, what remains is not chaos, but clarity. The wolf does not question its right to exist. It embodies it. Your freedom was never out there to be granted. It was always within, clawing at the walls of your hesitation. This is the paradox of liberation. The moment you stop asking for permission, the world rearranges itself around your certainty. The herd will part. The path will appear. Not because the world changed, but because you finally did. Now, run. The wilderness is calling. And this time, you answer as yourself. A lone wolf silhouetted against the rising sun, the howl still echoing.